21st century Renaissance man, Lin-Manuel Miranda, joins us now from his place in I'm crying. I am serious. It is just so... You know what, Lynn? First of all, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Thank you for sending a shaved ice and syrup to my house.
Yeah, you got it. Anytime. It's on me. Anytime you need it. Just don't wear a white dress when you have one. All right, so cheers. Let me tell you, I'm not kidding you. This was a love letter to Washington Heights that you created in your dorm room, and now it's here on the big screen. We've waited for it. When you sat there and watched the final cut, I'm going to speed up to when you're there screening the end. Yeah. Did you cry? I mean, what did it feel like to see it?
It's so many layers, Tamron, honestly, watching the final movie. The first time I saw it on the big screen inside a movie theater, first time I saw it on a screen was in Puerto Rico with my family, which was insane. You know, characters in the show are named after my cousins in Puerto Rico. So they were just thrilled to share that experience with me. But the first time I saw it in a theater was with my original Broadway cast. And I held hands with Chris Jackson, who played Benny. I held hands with Janet, who played Carla. And that final scene of the movie, there are people in that movie who are no longer with us. Doreen Montalvo, who was one of our original cast members, passed away last year, and she's in the last scene of that movie, and she sings the Para Siempre section of the movie. So she gets to live forever inside of this show that she loves so much, and we miss her so much. So it was really kind of like layers and layers of experience on top of each other. I'm still processing it.
I'll tell you, that's what I felt when watching it. I saw it at home, not on a big screen. Thank you for the screener. And I'm there, and I thought, this is the type of movie I want my son to watch. I want Moses, who's only 2, to see this later and it live on, because it is such an important cultural moment. And it reminded me of something that you said, your father, Luis, who's a legend of his own, and he's worked with politicians all around. He said to you about going into politics or being a politician, he said, what is more political than changing the vision of Latinos for this country? And that's what I was thinking about when I watched the film.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could tell you I had some genius political agenda, but honestly, I wanted a life in musical theater, and West Side Story was a long time ago. And for Latino dudes, there's just not a lot that already existed. And I had this realization in college: no one's going to write your dream for you. You have to make it yourself. And it's a miracle that that show went on to Broadway. And it's even more of a miracle that we're now celebrating the movie adaptation of that show. But I think the fact that reminding the world of our humanity, and that we are also part of the American story, and that we came here from somewhere else to make a better life for our children. There is something inherently political about that, but it really is, it's just a reminder of our humanity.
Yeah. You know, you mentioned West Side Story. I'm told that Steven Spielberg was also in the area for his new adaptation of West Side Story, and you snuck in to hear the performance of Maria. Is that why you really snuck in, or did you go over to say, Mr. Spielberg, get ready, because the Heights might overshadow you?
No, well, it's so funny. In a lot of ways, West Side Story begets In the Heights.
Yeah,
it really was. Yeah. I directed West Side Story my senior year in high school. Like, I know that score almost as well as my own. And it was so surreal that on the summer that we're filming on 175th Street, Steven Spielberg is filming on 177th Street. So to walk through 50 years of musical theater history by going 2 blocks, I literally went from the last song in our movie to the night shoot 2 blocks up. I snuck onto their set, and they were filming Maria on a fire escape. And so I think they'll always be in conversation with each other. It's just, it's really interesting. They're both falling in the same year.
It is really interesting, but that's why I said I think that, especially for In the Heights, it's the entertainment that I believe sincerely we need right now. And when we come back, more with Lin-Manuel and the 20-year journey from pen and paper to the big screen. But first, a look at what makes the Heights so special from some of the people who live there.
And I am the chef and owner of the Pandering Pig restaurant here in Washington Heights. It's really amazing because I do feel connected to In the Heights. I remember when it was just an off-Broadway show and then it kept getting life and growing, and I just remember thinking, that's my neighborhood. And now here it is a film.
What is beautiful to see this motion picture is to see how we're being represented. Everybody singing, which is amazing. You know, the great thing about it is that we took a risk on building new business to create a different environment for the future generation. So to see the struggles in this motion picture come to life is an amazing thing for the Heights.
I'm Kiara, and I am screenwriter and producer on In the Heights. In 2004, I was writing plays about the Latino community in Philadelphia, and a producer heard one of those plays and was like, you know, I know this guy. Next thing I knew, Lynn and I were having dinner. We were playing this game of, are we long lost cousins? Because there were so many echoes of our life in each other's stories. We've opened this show around the world. We've then filmed the movie walking distance from our own Washington Heights homes. It's a lot like family.
That was Lin-Manuel Miranda, and collaborator on In the Heights and co-writer of the new companion book, In the Heights, Finding Home. Pulitzer Prize winning writer Kiara Alegria Cuties joins us, along with Lynn, who was nice enough to stick around because I gave him another piragua. Kiara, I'll send yours, all right? I've got to freshen it up. I don't want it melting.
She's just up the street from me. I can bring it over.
Okay. I've got the best delivery guy in the Heights right now coming your way after this. I mean, this collaboration is just so special. Lynn, I've got to ask you, of course, played the lead in the Broadway play, but now Anthony Ramos takes on Usnavi. The decision there, obviously you have a cameo. I won't tell people what you're doing there, but the decision there with Anthony to keep that bond, to keep that friendship going in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, John wanted to really cast a wide net. He really wanted to make movie stars with this piece. And at the same time, I remember getting to see Anthony play Usnavi in a stage production in 2018 at the Kennedy Center. It was directed by another Heights alum, Stephanie Clemens. And I had this weird experience. It's almost like when you see your kid do something that your father used to do, and it's uncanny. It was that kind of experience, like, oh, we wrote this part for him even before we knew him. That's how it felt watching him play Usnavi. He doesn't have to put anything on to do it. He's got a huge beating heart. Look at him go, and he's a movie star.
I mean,
there's no ceiling to his talent.
He is a movie star, top to bottom. Kiara, you know, listen, this relationship and this bond with Lynn is about this neighborhood. And I said at the beginning of the show, you may never even visit the Heights, but the Heights represent something for all of us. And you talk about this starting really in Philadelphia, a place that I called home for many years, and I lived in Texas. This and Chicago, you have this feeling everywhere. We just have to be reminded through something like this that it does exist.
You know, the first time I met Lynn and we talked about working on In the Heights, he had already written a full score, and the music was so infused with not just the cultural elements that are so alive, like the rhythm, the vibrancy. It's really music to dance to. I thought, okay, people are supposed to sit still in the theater while they listen to the score. But it was also infused with these kind of cultural components that felt both very close to home as a Boricua who grew up in Philly, but also universal. I'm talking about cariño, tenderness, an ethos of love and respect and of community care. And so that loving joy combined with really infectious dance music in the score, I was like, let me join you. Let me write this story with you.
Do you feel the weight of the responsibility, and I mean that in a positive way, that we've not seen anything like this since West Side Story, in this magnitude, I think, and the storyline? Do you feel like, wow, kids for many years are going to sit there and point to this and say, that is the moment I really saw myself. I felt heard. I felt seen. My family, my abuela, everybody, my tia, all of us are seen in this.
Well, we've had those moments already to, we get so many college graduates who come to me and say, I'm the first in my family to go to college, and Nina Rosario was the first time I felt seen by a piece of theater or by a piece of art, or that was my abuela just passed away and you brought her back to me. And so that has been such a thrill. And I'm just as excited for the folks who see this and say, I want to tell my own story. I didn't grow up in a neighborhood like Washington Heights, so let me write what's missing, just how I felt like I was writing what was missing with Kiara when we embarked on this whole thing.
Kiara, the throwback Hollywood dance scenes. I actually, when we originally learned that you were both coming on the show, I wanted to go to the Heights because our favorite park, me and my son, we take him to the Heights, to his favorite park up there. But I wanted to reenact one of the dance scenes. It wasn't in the budget. But let me tell you, to your point, they were like, okay, we don't have money for that, Tamron Hall. But, to the point of how do you sit down when you see these scenes and this dance and this vibrancy from the minute it opens to the close? Just powerful.
Yeah, that's why a lot of times even writing it, I remember we were standing up, we'd be pacing, be moving, Lin would be skateboarding up and down his hallway because you want to get into the energy of the piece. It's part, Nina's a first generation college student, so there's that intellectual story, but this is a heart first piece. This is a body first piece. It does lead with that sense of joy and exuberance that's rooted in our bodies. You can see it in how we hug.
Yeah.
Even one of my favorite moments from the movie is a small moment you might not even notice, is just when they greet each other at the dinner party. And they're hugging and they're slapping each other's butts and they're saying, God bless you. And, it's that physical connection that, now that I remember, we were on our feet a lot as we were writing.
I knew it. That's how I felt. And I was watching it from home. But Lin, I know you've got a lot of other projects. You wrote the music for Moana and you're working on an upcoming live action of The Little Mermaid. So to use the quote from Hamilton, how do you write like you are running out of time? I mean, where do you find the time? Have you stopped to breathe?
Yes. No, and my number one role is as a husband and a father, and I have a great team around me that mostly body blocks projects from coming to my desk so that I can, we have the Heights premiere, and then I have my son's last day of school on Friday. Like that's my schedule. That's the priority. But yeah, I like to write. I love losing myself in a character. I love losing myself in the piano, and so I'm so thrilled that I'm lucky enough to get to do it for a living. Because even if I were still a substitute teacher, I would be doing this in every free minute.
Well, I am thrilled that two of you found each other to bring this to the world. So congratulations on it all.